Go for coming again. So let's get started. So AI, it's a topic that's been more talked about today. Is it good? Is it bad? Will it take over the world? I'm not going to be answering all those questions, but I'll be answering some of them in context with AI and architecture. So I myself, I have 2 degrees in architecture, and in graduate school I took a class about AI and architecture. And I had to write a paper about whether it was going to take over the field. Spoiler alert, it's not. So I have a little bit of credibility when it comes to talking about this. So like I said before, AI is talked about more today. It's used in Google algorithms, ChatGPT, AI generated images. These are kind of the things that people know about it. So first I'm going to talk about what AI is for design, how it's used in architecture, and what its limitations are. So first, what is it for design? Well, to put simply, it's a tool. Just like a hammer is used to hammer in nails or pull them out. There's things that it's good at, things that it's not so good at. It seems odd to just call it a tool for something as complex as AI can be. But as Del Campo and Neil Leach put it in their article, Can Machines Hallucinate Architecture, in 2002, they said that machines, or AI is this way because they don't have a consciousness. What this means is they can't think or recognize what they're doing. So just because you teach AI to draw a picture or design a building, it doesn't know that it's doing that. It can't make any other decision besides what you tell it to do. Just like a hammer can't do anything on its own. It can only do what you make it do. So now that we know that AI is a tool in design, how can it be used in architecture? So the best way to put it was put by an architect, Elisa Andrusek, in an interview with Jet Keegan about an article of how to harness AI in architecture, written in 2022, was that I want to use AI to free the architect from the mundane, because collectively we have lots of work to do. So the big picture is that AI is used as a time saver. So let me give you a few examples. Let's say a client came to you saying, I want a library that needs to be 3 floors, 10 rooms per floor, and no more than 30,000 square feet. So any architect would start by making some general concept designs. So just very simple geometric shapes to just kind of get an idea of where they could go. So in my own experience, this could take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes just to make one. And you're gonna need a couple before you even start. Or you can give those same parameters to AI and it can generate hundreds to thousands of them within minutes, saving you a lot of time. Let's say for that same project, I realized down the road, I need to make my windows 2 inches shorter. Depending on what software I'm using, I might have to go in and do that for every individual window. So if I notice this at the end of the project, that's hours of time that I or someone else has to spend to do it. Or you can assign that job to a robot or AI, and it can do it for you while you can spend time doing more important things. So that's kind of the scope of what AI is most often used for in architecture, is to save time. Now, though it sounds really useful, it does still have its own limitations. Neil Leach put it in his book, Architecture in the Age of Artificial Intelligence, written in 2022, that he talked about a case study where they used AI to reconstruct the Golden Gate Bridge. What they wanted to do was to try and use less material, but still have the same strength as what the Golden Gate Bridge does. So AI was able to make it, but instead of the very picturesque 2 towers of the Golden Gate Bridge, it was this amorphous, globby blob of steel that was hovering over the road. It looked awful. And so what it came down to is that since AI is just trying to solve a problem, rather than thinking about human sensibility or design aspects or context, it'll just do whatever it can to solve the problem. Now, it also doesn't take into account that it would be physically impossible to construct something so blobby and whatnot, what we have with our own technology. And so that's kind of the biggest limitation, because as I mentioned before, it doesn't have a consciousness. It can't think or decide or make new decisions. It just gets from point A to point B in whatever way that it can. So overall, we talked about how AI is a tool for design, how its biggest use in architecture is to save time. But its biggest limitation is that it can't think like a human being. It can only do what it's told to do in the best way that it thinks is efficient. And so, in an ironic twist, we always think that AI is going to take over and replace us. But in terms of architecture, it only serves to make us better at what we do. Thank you.
Really good. learned.